morning once again, my brother. What's the latest?
Morning, Romeo. Our dear viewer who's watching us from your TV set and from online. Yes, this is Muyenga. Stephen Mbide coming to you from the home of the Senior Presidential Advisor on Media and Public Relations, Mr. John Nagenda. Good morning and thank you for allowing us into your beautiful...
Yes, you are late, but next time, if you are late again, I will...
Okay, Mr. Nagenda, just yesterday the news came and surprised many people in the civil service that this time round the promises from the executive that they're going to receive a salary increment, it's not going to be fulfilled, and this was a disappointment on their part. Is your government lying to the civil service?
You know, there are lots of things going on, and being short of money is not a criminal offense. If government is doing things which it is doing, is building roads and doing other things, sometimes it won't work out so well.
But you know, your system is spreading finances and resources, creating more public administrative units like local governments, which also impact on the expenditure. Why can't you minimize these costs of administration and then fulfill the promises that you make?
No, but we will fulfill the promises that we make. But what is wrong with having local governments, if you call them that? They feel that they are playing a part in running their lives, and surely that's a good thing. And if we didn't have local governments, you'd be asking me, why don't you have local governments? Whatever we do.
Many private local governments.
What?
The many which also contribute to the high expenditure.
How many? You mean somebody in Guru shouldn't have one? Or somebody in Bachiga shouldn't have one? You have so many tribes here. And it is not by mistake that we want them all to take part. But that we don't have enough money is true, because I think what happened, they thought that we would have more money than we have. But it's not a crime. I feel sorry for the people who are badly paid. But we shall overcome.
Mr. Nagenda, your system, every time we approach election year, there are many cracks that seem to come up, many dissenting voices. The previous election you had Mr. John Patrick Mbabazi, who led who was part of the TDA. But this time around, you have another one, Lieutenant General retired Henry Tumukunde. Yes. Many of these voices are within the system that they helped bring into power, but now they say that time is up for the system.
When I was writing about Mr. Mbabazi, whom you brought up, I called him Mr. 1.49%.
Because of his results?
Because of the results that he got, you know. Mr. Tumukunde would not do any better. I think he would do worse. The people that we have in government, especially in the more huge jobs, are able to do what they do, and they do it well. But I think I don't know what even the next government would do, because you want local governments everywhere, and yet you are saying there are too many. If you chose people from just Uganda or Bankole, and not Gulu or Teso, you would quarrel with it. What do you want? What do you want us to do?
But these voices are saying that now it's time that we see a change in system, a change in governance, that your system, the NRM system, is not bringing on to board. They want to change from the grassroots to the top leadership. I know what they are saying. It's time up for President Yoweri Museveni, who has been in power for the last 35 years.
Look, if we don't do things, you say we are wrong. If we do them, you say we are wrong. We are going to make sure that people are paid a living wage. But we have, some of us, most of us have complained about the corruption in this country. So you go and think you've got the money, and then somebody goes and puts their fat fingers in it and takes it away. And then it isn't there. You have had a very good government for 30, is it 34 years?
35 now.
35. And occasionally some things we won't be able to do, but we try our best.
Some of those voices that are dissenting are saying that this time round, let's have the young Turks, the old guard like you, it's time up for you, and they want that maybe let's have a new blood in the system.
Like you, for example. If you would try to do it, you would look so ridiculous. You see, you can't even make time when you talk to me.
There are some who have provided themselves up.
But you are criticizing the government. Okay, I am 82. I'll be 82 in April. But I bet I write a better sentence than you do. And I bet I carry out my duties better than you do. So, but on the other hand, the reason there are votes is that if people are tired of us, they shouldn't vote for us. And then you would see what would happen to Uganda. Uganda would go back to where it used to be.
Do you think President Museveni can go in a free and fair election? Do you think he can really relinquish power?
Of course. If you don't give him the votes, he has never cheated. I know that Mr. What is this man who's married to the famous lady? If we are in Uganda.
You mean Dr. Kizza Besigye?
Kizza Besigye. Thank you for reminding me. He says that every time his votes have been cheated. You are a grown-up person.
And some courts have said so, that at least there was some fraud and irregularities in the election.
Which would have made, if I remember correctly, the judges who adjudicated the matter said that some funny business went on, but not enough to have won the government. But why do we have votes? We have votes to show whether people still want us on, okay? If you beat us this time, I mean, the things are counted, they're kept somewhere, they can be checked, we will go. But I think when you ask these questions, you should start off by saying what a good job we've done, except for the corruption.
That good job, even before we got the corruption, that good job, when President Museveni was in Kampala some time back, he was castigating the then Executive Director of Kampala, Jennifer Musi, that her efforts were also responsible for the loss of NRM in many parts of Kampala. But even now we see many things happening in Kampala. Like the other day we saw enforcement officers with the police beating up and dispersing crowds where they even injured people. But also police, many times it disperses opposition rallies, which may also taint the image of the opposition locally and also internationally. When you meet the president, what do you tell him about some of these issues or things that may taint the image of the NRM?
By the way, it is wrong to, when Mrs. Musisi,
Yeah,
Jennifer Musisi, was being mayor. No, she wasn't.
Executive
mayor.
Director.
She was Executive Director of Kampala. I'll tell you for sure what she did. Towards the end, when she knew she was leaving, she made roads that looked all right, and every single one of them is rubbish. They've got holes in them, and so on. Every time I drive to say, Entebbe, and drive through Kampala, I curse the roads. So it shows that even we can make mistakes. That's true. But what was your question?
But the things that are being done by the police that seem to be tainting the image of the police.
There was a poor girl, quite young, with a child, and the child was hit by a live bullet in her mouth, and she lost, I think, 7 teeth or whatever. That was terrible. It means, you know, maybe somebody jostled the arm of the policeman who was holding it. You can never tell. I wasn't there. But to me, it seemed that they were flustered, that they weren't themselves. They were shooting in all directions. And this child has really hurt me so much that I'll join the people who are giving them money.
And also the opposition rallies that are being dispersed by the police, that also, under the Presidential Elections Act, the police has to safeguard law and order. But these days we see people going for consultations, they are being dispersed without even speaking to their supporters.
No, I don't. Well, yes, you might have seen it here or there. But take the poor town of Jinja, which is where they seem to go all the time, where Besigye goes. And he's been imprisoned there about, I don't know, 10 times or something. He wants to be imprisoned. He needs an excuse to carry on, and therefore he does it. But of course, if people ask for meetings in plenty of time, and they're allowed to do so, there should be peace enough. But how do you get the peace? Because you have people who come there to cause trouble. And as soon as you start your meeting, they will do what they do. And you've got to stop them. If we didn't stop them behaving badly, you'd be the first to say, that person who came, or that policeman, why do they have to behave like this? In other words, we've now got thick skin. Mr. Museveni has been there 34 years, I think. And he does, what I know about him, he likes the lowest in society. And he's very much at ease with them in a way that has never been done before in Uganda.
But some are saying that corruption, there are so many institutions that are fighting corruption, but then, even in December we saw him walking, but some critics are saying that just mere walking and creating these institutions will not help, and corruption may bring this government down.
Well, let it come down. If you think that the government itself is very corrupt, then bring it down. Why don't you? Don't give it your vote. Who are you voting for, by
But
the way?
also you also say that one of the weaknesses is corruption within the system.
Yes, within the system, everybody is corrupt. Not everybody is corrupt. I'm not corrupt, and you may not be corrupt. But I have been trying to work out where the corruption comes from. I don't want to say that the people who are not corrupt didn't know how to steal, because of course they did. But there's something special around this time, that the people are brighter perhaps, they know how to steal and get away with it, and I have to say that we've failed to fight.
Okay. There's also the issue of generals within the system, or UPDF. You have many serving UPDF officers seem to be at a collision path. What do you read in this? Isn't it dangerous for a state like Uganda?
Do you mean like Tumukunde?
Tumukunde, you have Tumukunde, you have General Kayihura, you have even the young ones like Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the first son, coming up and saying that now it's time to talk. Let's talk, let's have these issues ironed out.
You don't want him to say that?
No, it means there's the spirit within the UPDF generals that think this collision path within the UPDF or within the senior officers of the UPDF, isn't it too dangerous for a young country like Uganda?
Let's take General Tumukunde. I don't think he really will stand. I know him a little bit, and I like him, but I think he's just being naughty, and sometimes he's a bit naughty, and wants to see, can he fluster, can he fluster?
He's busy pushing for his consultations.
What consultations?
You think he's joking?
I think he's joking, and I think he wants to annoy Museveni. So, but he certainly, the Prime Minister, Mr. Mbabazi, got 1.49. I don't think Tumukunde will get 1.49.
Would you tell the president to maybe groom someone, maybe to take over the system of NRM or even his presidency?
I have written about it many times, and I think there should be somebody with Mr. Museveni at all times. What happens if Mr. Museveni gets an accident, and what happens for the future? So I have asked for it, and I'm still asking for it, because I think it would be a very good idea. I used to think that 75 was an age when people should stop and so on, and I have said so.
And you were so vocal in 2017.
Yes, I was very vocal. But
what happened?
no, I changed my mind because I looked around. It's true. I mean, am I going to choose this singer to say, let him...
You want the best dancer to stay on stage.
No, Museveni is doing a very good job, and he's very sophisticated.
Okay, maybe you know you follow keenly in foreign affairs, and you are man we know that who writes about foreign affairs, foreign policy a lot.
Yes.
These days we have the issue, pandemic now has been declared by World Health Organization, the issue of coronavirus that has ravaged the whole world. Yeah. And just this night, before dawn, the US President, Donald Trump, declared that all travels from Europe to USA are going to be blocked. What's your view about how this should be contained across the world?
I happen to think that Mr. Trump is not serious at all. He's like a small kid. He wants to show off, and he's now trying to get a second term. So I expect him to say a lot of rubbish. Well,
dealing with this pandemic.
The pandemic, what if you have a country which hasn't had any patients?
Like Uganda.
Yes. Uganda hasn't had it. Then what if people say Africans shouldn't come here? Or because they are 11 of their countries have these things.
Okay. As we wind up this conversation, just also in the US, Senator Bernie Sanders tussling it out with Joe Biden, former vice president.
Joe Biden is knocking him to pieces, and so he should. I don't know what made this man, Mr. Sanders, think that he should run for president. It is ridiculous. And by the way, did you know that he's an independent?
And some of his supporters.
So what he does, no, wait a minute, he's an independent for 4 years. Then when the 4th year, when there's going to be an election, he becomes a Democrat. No wonder he loses. And he should keep losing until he's not with us anymore.
Okay, any final word that you would like to tell the viewers on NTV?
It's about Africa, it's about Uganda. I would yet again appeal to the president, whom I support entirely, but to get an assistant. I've written about it so often, and occasionally I even wrote about him. But he should get an assisting person learning from him how to be a president, because he will teach him, and then the president. I'm sure after next year, the term that will follow, he won't be there.
Thank you so much. I've been speaking to a sportsman, an author, and a politician, as well as a senior presidential advisor to the president on issues of the media and public relations, Mr. John Nagenda. Thank you so much.
We've asked to resign. I noted that.
Thank you so much for allowing us into your home, and now taking you back to studio. Thank you for watching Morning at NTV. Stephen Mbide here, signing out for now.